right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Rush Hour Talk. This is Pete.
This is Ray.
And we have a special guest for you today. He's one of the most disciplined, most willful, focused, accomplished people that I know. He's as charismatic as he is competitive. Former crazy partier, now turned dad of two. We got Allan on the show today. What's up, Al? How you been, man?
What's up, fellas? What's up, Pete and Ray? Hope you guys been well.
Hope you've been well, man.
Crazy times, yeah, man. Trying to maintain. That's the goal these days.
Former crazy partier turned father of two. How's that life been for you?
Dad life?
Yeah.
Dad life? Oh man. So dad life, I mean, it has its good days, it has its bad days. You know, when there's some dads that say, "Oh, it's amazing." There's other dads that say, "It's horrible." I don't fall in either of those classes. I'm just like, there's good days, there's bad days. You know, there's probably more good days than bad days, but there's some bad days. But the goal for me, you know, is just to stay within the spectrum.
Yeah. Can we expect a third?
No. It's a wrap. No, it's tough, man. It's tough. You know, like it's, you know, with Zach, we had our challenges because firstborn, right? Mm-hmm. We're still trying to figure out how to keep him alive. Mm-hmm. And then we got to hang that, right? And then we had a second one. What made the second one difficult is the dynamics of still taking care of Zach, right? Mm-hmm. Because we got the hang of taking care of a baby, knowing how to keep him alive. But then now you have to kind of work through the dynamics of raising two kids at the same time. And of course, COVID didn't help at all. The third one, unlikely. COVID did not help. Lisa wants a third one. Lisa wants a girl.
I was about to say, you gonna get him snipped?
Yeah. Lisa wants a third. But I think if it wasn't, I think if COVID wasn't around, there's probably a better chance of that happening. Mm-hmm. But because of COVID and just the pain, they just can't do it. Yeah.
Well, how's Lisa been doing with the two kids? I know you guys have probably been working from home most of the time, right?
I think in the beginning of quarantine, we were all kind of like, "Oh, this is kind of nice," you know. Things are a little bit slower at work. Mm-hmm. We both get to work from home, not just me. Mm-hmm. So we got a lot of time to spend with the kids, and it was kind of nice. Like I'd say probably like the first three. No. I'd say between like the first 4 to 6 weeks was like, oh, we're kind of enjoying this, right? Mm-hmm. Not the fact that there's a pandemic going. Yeah, it's kind of just the life. To be clear, not around on quarantine, you know, or pandemic. You know, so it was kind of nice. But then, like, kind of after 6 weeks, we're kind of like, all right, man, we got to get back to life. What are we now? 6 months into it? It feels like 6 months. I think we're kind of in this, you know, what everyone says, like the new norm. So we're kind of getting the hang of it, right? But yeah, there's still challenges.
Both Ray and I met Allan through his wife Lisa. Lisa is a person that went to Virgil with Ray first, and then I ended up meeting her through Ray, and then we've been pretty much stuck together, like, you know, what do we used to call that? Default friends, because we all had the same classes and stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. I've had a class with Lisa since middle school. Like every class, yeah. I met you at the house party, right?
Yeah, and that's where I met you. That's where I met you two knuckleheads, because I remember it was let's see, I think it was I'd say it was probably Lisa's birthday, maybe. It was. I think somebody had well, you guys were all close in birthdays, right? So like February, March-ish. I think.
Peter, this is when we lived together, right?
Yeah. This is when we were roommates back in 2010 or something, 09 or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, somewhere around that. So it's somewhere between January, February, March, because I remember it was her birthday. It was your birthday too, Pete. Mm-hmm. And so somebody had a house party back in Alhambra, right? That's where you guys were at.
Yeah, El Sereno.
And that's when I met you guys. And she was like, "Oh, you know, I'm having this party, blah blah blah, and you want to come over?" So I said, "All right." And so it came over, and then I didn't know anybody in that damn party but her. I saw you two. I'm like, well, all right, who are you guys?
The first time I met Allan was actually not at a party. It was actually, I was looking for a job back then. Mm-hmm. And then Lisa connected me with Allan, so he could talk me through some things. Because Edison was one of the places I was applying to. You remember that, Al?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So I remember him talking to me and walking me through a few things. And I was like, I can see what Lisa sees in Allan. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's all like, he's real generous. I never met the guy. He's all spending like a lot of time on the phone with me, just talking me through something. I was like, I didn't even know the guy. But with that being said, though, that's just a little bit about Allan. You know what I mean? First impressions was the exact opposite of what Ray thought.
Yeah, I had a different experience. I was like, who is this guy? And part of it, too, at the time, I was very protective of my friends, Lisa, Kat, and Annie. So, like, any guy that came into their life, I'm like, who is this guy? Are they really good? And stuff like that. So that's where part of it came from. But it was all love.
Yeah, but, that group, like, it was, you guys were a tight-knit group that had a lot of history, right? Yeah. And so breaking into it wasn't, like, the easiest task. It was like... All right, who is this motherfucker? Like, it's like a core. It's like a core that has so much history.
No, I've gotten into fights because of those girls.
It's like Ray's also fought with those girls, so he knows exactly what's going on.
There's some trips that you remember, right? And that Hawaii trip. You know what part of the Hawaii trip I remember, dude? You remember
squeezing into a swimsuit?
Well, no. Well, there's that. But remember the parasailing and the knucklehead that took us out was driving the boat like literally like 100 miles per hour, and Pete and I were grabbing for dear life in the raft. We had a raft. Right? We were in the raft. Peter and I were in the raft, and the dude was driving 100 miles per hour, and the raft was literally bouncing like few feet up the air, and we were just like holding to dear life, because if we let go, we literally would have fell off that raft, dude. You remember that?
So crazy. I was, for however long that was, it felt like an hour. I'm sure it was only like a minute. For however long that was, I just remember like literally holding on, looking at Allan next to me, and we're just like, seriously, we're getting our asses slammed on the boat, and we're like, damn, like by the time the boat stopped, we're like, dude, we might want to turn back, man. I think I'm hurt.
I was so mad. We were so mad, and we're like, how does that dude not know? Like, he's going that fast, and he literally has like people like that he's like towing. That is literally holding for dear life. Like,
did you have a life vest?
I think we had a life vest.
I think we did. Yeah,
that's not important, Raymond.
Like, you'll be all right.
Well, I was holding onto the raft. Like this. I was holding onto the raft like this, and like Peter was like, "Let's hold hands, dude. Like, let's hold hands."
I can't swim, so like I would have been worse. I probably would have pissed myself. So.
Thinking about it now, I feel like if we just let go and fell into the water, it would have been easier.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
I don't know. It looked violent, man.
Yeah, I remember Pete in Vegas, early days of Vegas, like really young. We shared a group, and me and him laid out we laid out our clothes that we were gonna wear at the club, and then what underwear are you wearing? Like, I'm wearing that underwear. What are you wearing? Let's put it all together. Like, I was like, why are we laying out our underwear?
It's like, dude, it's like, hey, man, that's a nice outfit, man. That's a great outfit. You can totally wear that underwear with it. I was like, that's awesome. I do remember that trip, actually.
I remember. Oh man,
I remember Allan rolled up to my bachelor party to do one night. Just so you know where you fall in my list of people. Like, I should go to this. Who's a porn person? One night, and literally, my Zach was just born. Like, I think that week. Mm-hmm. September 3rd. I think your bachelor party was the weekend after or two. Yeah.
And Lisa was like, I'm giving you a fucking hall pass to go. But I really got it cleared before he was born, so I was like, you already said go.
Yeah.
I rolled in one night, came in, came out. I remember that, dude.
Yeah. Dude, you wilded out that night. So you made the most of your 24-hour turnaround. It wasn't even 24 hours. You came like in the late afternoon the day before.
Yeah.
You did not. As soon as you got there, yo, where's the liquor? You were ready. You were going and going.
It took me 2 weeks to recover from that trip.
I remember that. Yeah, that was a good trip.
That was crazy though. You were just there. You were in it. You were orchestrating. Yo,
that's all I gotta say was Zach was born literally a week before your bachelor's party, and I got the hall pass to go.
I know.
Unprecedented.
Thank you, Lisa. And I think you talked about this a little bit before, right? But what was one of the reasons you said you moved back to Irvine again?
Yeah, so we moved. So kind of the history, right? So I used to live in Roland. I grew up in Roland, Roland Heights, and then fast forward a few years, I ended up moving to Irvine when I started working out there shortly after college, and then really pretty much lived my bachelor life in Irvine. And then when we had kids, after we got married, had kids, we moved to Roland Heights. We lived there. We moved there in 2018 for the primary reason that it was closer to family to help us with care, basically. Mm-hmm. And then in 2019, we decided to move back to Irvine, and the primary reason for that was really more to live in a place where it's more family, kid friendly. Because in Roland, we had a big place. It was nice. It was a lot of room, right? The house that we were in, it was real nice. But just getting to places was very was a pain in the ass, really. It took us 20 minutes to get to the freeway, and then there wasn't really a lot of kid friendly activities that was nearby, and so we found ourselves easily an hour away from doing anything, right? And so then we decided, to move back to Irvine. It's a lot more kid friendly. There's parks that we can literally walk to 5 minutes, and then just part of our master plan, because we knew we were having Ryan, was have better options for preschool, and Roland didn't really lend itself to that. The preschool there was 30 minutes out, that was reputable, and so we decided to move back to Irvine. And then there's a lot more options in Irvine for preschools, and so that's why we moved. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. I mean, so far so good. I think I have to say, just as recent as the other day, we were just reminiscing. Man, right now because of COVID and quarantine, we could use the space we had.
Oh yeah.
In Roland, but who would have thought? Right?
Yeah, I know.
So before you even moved back to Irvine and you moved to Roland, so talking about your bachelor days, right? What was it that you liked about? What was it that you liked about living in Irvine as bachelor, or having your life situated there? Was it convenient? Was it fun? Did it have a lot of nice people there?
Actually, that is a good question. Why did the kid from Roland Heights, all your family's in Chino, go to Irvine?
It really has nothing to do with my bachelor / personal life. It had to do primarily with work. Mm-hmm. So I started working in Westminster, and there was so many cities to choose from, and I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to buy a place, where is a place that's gonna that I know is going to appreciate over time? So I decided Irvine. And so I decided Irvine really more from a work perspective, because it was 20 minutes away from work. Mm-hmm. And then it just so happened, I ended up living there for 10 plus years. And part of working, obviously, is having a personal life. And if you look at it from that perspective, not work related, it's fucking far, man. Irvine is fucking far from everything.
Yeah.
We used to go out, right? And you guys would have to plan ahead to we're going to Orange County and we're going to party in Orange County and we're going to stay at Allan's place. It was a planned event, versus if you had lived let's say where you guys live, LA County, near LA County, it's boom, a couple exits away, you're where you want to be. For me, it was it's an effort. If I'm going out with you guys, I know I gotta leave now, to get there on time. So from a bachelor / social life, it was not very conducive to that, because Irvine's far. it was more from a work perspective, and I know property will appreciate. It's a good investment, Irvine. That's why I did it. It wasn't for social reasons.
And I believe you went to Long Beach, right? So where were you staying when you were going to Long Beach? Right. And that was before.
Yeah. So I went to Long Beach. I went to Cal State Long Beach for my bachelor's degree, and and I lived with my aunt for pretty much all 4 years, and she lived 10, 15 minutes away from campus. Wow. So I lived out with her, and then commuted to work. So if I look back, my college Cal State Long Beach days, it was really just functional. It was just it was really just a way to get. It was a means to an end. Like I had to graduate, so on and so forth. Like if you look at it, like did I really live like the college life and really immerse myself into the Long Beach community? I didn't do that as much. It was really more just a means to all right, do this. What's the cheapest option for me to get through this? Boom, boom, boom. And that's what I did. Because even now, to date, a lot of the friends that I had in Long Beach, they never really carried over into my adult life. And they kind of just a means to get what I needed, the paper. And then I'm out every weekend. Even every weekend, I was still out with my buddies I grew up with, back in Brooklyn.
One of the most famous slogans ever that I heard come from Allan. I don't even know if he made this up, but it's one of the first times I heard someone say it. But what was it out? Bees get degrees.
Yeah, bees get degrees. Dude. No, that came that motto was a product of that was a product of the master's program that I went into at LMU, Loyola Marymount.
Oh, the MBA.
Because at the time, because then to me, I still believe that now. I really still believe that. That's the motto that, especially from an advanced degree standpoint, people should live by. Is because you're balancing so much in life to get that extra paper, but then you sacrifice for what? You're just trying to get the paper, right? Now you gotta get A's. No one's gonna know you got A's or B's. Just get the paper. And in master's program, all you needed was to get a B, to literally pass the class and not have to retake it. So I was like, all right, either I just put in the minimum to get the B, and then I could still hang out with you knuckleheads and Lisa and a bunch of friends that I had, and that's it. Or do I try to really go after that A and no one gonna ever know about, and then not see people? I was like, forget it, not worth it. It's not worth it. I know to this day, fast forward in my career, I'm in my career now, 15 years, 16 years. It's not a day in my career have I ever met someone that said, dude, what kind of grade you get?
Once it's done, it's done.
It's man. Done, exactly.
That's where you're from. You're good.
Exactly. So yeah.
How was your time over there at Loyola? I know that I think we saw you sparingly. I know you were studying a lot. You made it out to Lisa's games every so often. Yeah. But how was your time there?
Loyola was also very functional. I commuted, and it was hella far, right? So Loyola was back. It's near Pacific Palisades area, right? So it's
that's Santa Monica, right?
It's far out there from Irvine. So easy hour plus to get there, and so it was very functional. I went in just like Long Beach. I went in, got my shit done, and I left. Even the people that I met there, it's just more from an acquaintance standpoint. I'm trying to get the paper, dude. You're not gonna move me. You're not gonna move the needle for me knowing you. I just need to get paper, and I'm gonna bounce. If you look at it, so that's the common theme for me from an education standpoint is just functional, man. Functional.
Yeah. I mean, did you enjoy any of the time at Long Beach and at LMU? Did you get any joy out of it, or was it just straight work?
There's enjoyment in terms of kind of just experiencing something different, because I went from Roland, very small community, to Long Beach, huge. And so, just experiencing that was nice, was new. But I didn't really I wouldn't say I really took in that lifestyle and be wow, I'm in Long Beach now.
Why did you want to get your MBA to begin with? Was it just kind of like a career move? Like you felt like you reached the ceiling at work or something?
At the time, right, when I went to go after my MBA, I was into my career. I felt like I needed it to advance because the company I worked for, Edison, was very like old school in that type of like structure. Like you need XYZ number of years of experience and then XYZ degrees. And so I couldn't fast forward the experience. I could fast forward getting the degree. So I did it, got the degree just to get that checkbox. Because at that time, I had it in my mind that I'm going to finish my career at Edison. And so in order to finish my career at Edison and climb the corporate ladder, I need to just get these checkboxes checked. So checkbox, MBA. That's why I went after it. And so, that's why I really did it. Now, if you ask me, do I value it? I mean, this is gonna make people mad, but no, I don't. I don't. Because
and why is that?
I've come to learn in my adult life that the degrees don't matter, dude. It just doesn't matter. It's more about your network and as well as your ability to adapt. And the paper, if you're going to go for a company that looks at the paper, it's probably not the company that's going to really be like, yeah, this is a badass company. It's not like that. Look at the companies now, the ones that's really like catapulting to the very top, like the Googles of the world. They're looking at the best people that can do the job and have the social skills, hopefully, to not piss off people and have people, gun down the company, right? So that's it, right? They're not looking like, this guy got a PhD. Like sure, there's still that. There's still that class of people that should get their degrees. But for me personally, like I've come to learn, I need no degree in what I do.
So what would you tell a person who asks you, like, what would be a question that you ask this person to help this person decide whether or not they want to go get their MBA? What would you ask them first to help them?
I think it falls in their three categories. Is it to learn a new skill? Is it to check a box in the current job that you have? Or is it to let's say broaden your network or build a network? Because I think those are the three that you can potentially yield from an advanced degree. I think that's the three. And so if somebody says like, I need to check a box, and they really believe that fast forward that's something that they really need to do because they plan to stay there, then sure, you should do it. Right? But that's an expensive ass box to check. I mean, a master's degree is not cheap. There's that. And then if you want to learn the skill, let's say for MBA, well, I know a lot of business people that don't have an MBA, and they're very good business people. Yeah. So it really all depends on your ability to learn. If that's a framework that allows you to learn, then sure, get it, right? From an academia standpoint. But I know dudes that don't have a business degree, yet they're very business minded and they're very effective at what they do from a business standpoint, right? So it really all depends on how the framework that you need to learn.
Do you feel like if you knew you were going to end up here anyway, would you have gone your MBA?
No. That's like 100% no. Like I told Lisa this, and me and her, she was like, well, don't be saying that to our kids. Don't be telling our kids. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I won't tell them that. And then so I'm gonna ask you, like you're asking me, no, because I really believe that you can. The things that I do now has nothing to do about the paper. It's more, can you socially interact? And can you fake the funk long enough for them to pay you?
I'm gonna put this podcast in a little time capsule for Zach after he finishes school.
That's what it is, right? I mean, I don't know. Like if I throw it back to you guys, like what you guys do respectively, it's like you really need that advanced degree.
I mean, I'm not even using the degree that I studied for in school.
Exactly.
And it's funny because I was always a techie, as a kid. As in third grade, I was fixing computers for people. I just never, for some reason, I never nobody told me I should study it, and now I'm in it. But yeah, I think everything you said is right. I think some people do need to go for their MBA, and some people don't really need it. It's just really about your network and how you use that network to your benefit.
Right, and there is one more. You know how I said there's three, right? And then there's actually a fourth one. It's the fourth one is like the group of people that, you know, like the letters after their name. Like, I got MBA, like, you know, okay, you need that. They go get it. Like, there's that. Without a doubt, there are people like that.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. And so if you tell me like you need to get the MBA because you need the notoriety and make sure that people know that you're highly educated, then do it. Yeah. That's shit expensive.
Yeah, I think I remember having a pretty deep conversation with you, Allan, about it. I think back then too. I don't know if you remember, but I was considering it.
I think I told you
for a very, very long time. Yeah, you told me. Well, you were pretty honest with me about it, and the fact of the matter is that you're right. It didn't really stop me from doing the things I wanted to do, or being an entrepreneur or doing any of that stuff. I just went ahead and did it, but it didn't really contribute to any of that stuff anyway. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, I don't think I would have had time to do any of the things I did if I went to MBA. Get my MBA.
And like don't anybody listen to this, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not like demeaning the concept of a higher education, because like in one of the company that I worked for after Edison, like the core executive team pretty much came from MIT. You guys, I worked out in Boston, right? And so so a good portion of the executive team came from MIT, and going to MIT, you're already at that intellectual caliber, number one. Yeah. But where I think that they really were able to take advantage or leverage their degree was more from a social network aspect, because they were rubbing elbows with other MIT people, other Harvard people, and that class in itself, they have their own network. They're coming from like wealth. They're coming from business status that, I just need to know this dude that knows this dude, and I can open up my shop. Like that are the intangibles from getting an advanced degree. Is that network. But if you go like pound for pound, I'm gonna get my degree because if I get my degree, I'm better than you. Nah, that's not true. That's not true. Like, that's not true.
Yeah, no, I agree. By the way, I don't mean any disrespect to the higher education. I think it's amazing. But I think you hit the nail on the head when you say your first question, what are you doing with it? Like, what are you trying to do? You got to ask yourself what you're trying to do. And a lot of people don't really answer that before they jump into it, because there's a prestige thing. There's a hierarchy thing, but once you get it, if you don't have the network, it's like, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So got it. I'm gonna put that video clip in Zach's stocking.
Dad, you said I don't have to eat. Dad, you said school sucks. You don't need it.
He said bees.
Bees get degrees.
Lisa hates it when I say that, man, because like you guys know Lisa. Lisa's like a brainiac, dude.
Lisa got pretty much straight A's all throughout middle school, high school. Yeah,
she's competitive too. I remember one time I didn't really try that hard, and I got a grade a little higher than hers, and she was pissed.
You must have cheated.
He's like, look at this fool. There's no way he's smart. I was like, you know what? I got to change my act. This is not a good sign.
Isn't Emily that way too? Was it Emily or Lisa the one that cried when they got a B in Mr. Montgomery's class?
That was Lisa. That's the exact incident I was talking about. I'm sorry, Lisa. We still love you. I wanted to ask you too, was there anybody in your life that mentored you or taught you how to make decisions, who kind of guided you or helped you develop this systematic way of thinking through things?
I don't think I really had a specific one. It was probably more of like a cultivation of just things that I teased out from conversations from certain people. And those people, it's not like I necessarily like, "Ooh, you're awesome." No, it's just like you just tease out certain comments and feedback from people and be like, I'm I think that comment makes sense. That one, you're stupid. It's kind of just like you just kind of just pick out certain things that people tell you, and then kind of just say, all right, I kind of like that lifestyle. I kind of like that approach to things, And then that's from a personal standpoint, people that I meet, right? Just pick and choose, tease out certain things people say. But then, like, if you look at it from like a mentor, like kind of how, I mean, really at the end of the day, it's like people that I watch on TV, sadly, like people that I read about. It's like I'm not, there's so many, right? You got sports figures. There's your favorite sports figures that you just look at. Like, I like that. I like the way he approaches things. I like the way this guy talks. I like the way he looks at things objectively. I like this guy's, bravado. That's too much. That's too much bravado. There's that. You start to kind of like pick and choose.
Weren't you an Ari Gold fan?
You pick and choose. Pick and choose. I don't think there's like a person where it's like I'm gonna follow what you say.
Yeah.
I don't think I really lived it that way.
Yeah. Did your parents have anything to do with that?
Lisa and I are talking about this, like just generally, like we're thinking like how we were raised differently. Like for me, my parents were more like, all right, like you do your, there's an expectation from you, Allan, to do X, Y, Z, get a job, finish school. How you get there, that's on you. but I expect you to graduate, and I expect you to get a job. That's the goal. How you get there, like as crisscross as it could be, zigzag, it's a key.
I spoke to Christina about this yesterday. I relinquished all my any school discipline or anything because I was an okay student at best. You know what I mean? I was a great crammer. Like if you gave me a textbook this thick, right? You just let me sit there for like 8 hours reading it. I'm like, cool. I'll go in there and get you an A the next day.
Yeah.
But I'm not one of those people who had always studied on time and did anything like that.
Yeah.
But I was able to, like, if I had to, I'll sit down and cram and I'll do fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I already relinquished all that stuff to Christina. I told her yesterday, I have no say in this because I wasn't the greatest student. What the hell am I going to yell at my kid for?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel the same way. I think Lisa and I, once Zach and Ryan get to that academia, grade, it's gonna be the same because Lisa is like nuts and bolts academic. She's good at it. But like me is like, well, when's the test? When's the test? That's all you need to know about is the test. Forget the homework. Let's look at strategically where the percentage counts. Tests or homework? The tests. So let's go spend the most time on the tests. Who cares about the homework? Like, it's just like that's a stupid strategy. Homework is important. I was like, okay, next. That's why you're going to be in charge when it comes to homework time. Yeah.
So what are you going to be in charge then if she's in charge of homework?
Test time, dude. It counts, dude.
Remember, you and Peter are both relinquishing your academia, so what are you going to be in charge of then?
That's true. Oh, that's a good question. Don't tell Lisa that. I don't know.
I mean, truth be told, I'm definitely a huge proponent of people studying hard and working hard, getting into schools and getting their degrees and everything like that. And if they choose to not do that, they're just going to have to figure out different ways to get what they want. Yeah. I mean, that's just the bottom line. But that is a pretty paved road. I mean, you see what's ahead of you. You walk it. You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice. I mean, like I definitely admire people who go through all that too.
But then what happens? What happens when you get into like a pickle? What happens when you get into a pickle? Like, fuck, this is not in the manuscript. What do you do? Just crumble?
You said you watch TV, you watch sports and stuff like that. Who were some of your mentors that you looked at that?
An easy one is the dude behind you. Number one.
Which dude?
The one to your left. There you go.
Well, actually, both dudes.
Yeah. Well, to me, the dude on your left is number one. And I mean, I can go on and on, but at the end of the day, if I was to chalk it up, it probably has to do with his persistence. Like, you may not be the most skilled, but I'm gonna get there with persistence. Yeah. That's it. And I feel the same way, like personally. Like, I may not be like the smartest, probably not the smartest dude in the room, but if I try hard enough and I just need to know enough to get to where I want to. That's.
I mean, Kobe's definitely one of those guys, who pretty much, doesn't have the same experiences, but his sentiment is universal, like mine.
There's Kobe's, right? Like growing up, Kobe was a dude that I watched a lot. I'm a big golf fan, so Tiger Woods, obviously. I mean, these are athletes that I'm sure is on everyone's list of mentors that they either know or see.
Mm-hmm. Heroes,
right? But Tiger Woods, right? But his is different, right? Because he didn't really like advertise his mentality, obviously, right? It's more of just like what you saw. And for him, if you got I followed him a lot in my high school years. That was his heyday. That was his prime in the 90s, 96, early 2000s. His was more of the results, and just dominance. Like, I'm so good at what I do, I'm not gonna hold back just because I know I'm winning. I want you to know I beat you by 10 strokes. Just so the next time we play, it's in your head that I'm that good. That's more of just like the bravado aspect. I'm so good, and not that I admire that type of. It's more of the things like you need some bravado to be successful. Mm-hmm. You need that. You need that. It's a balance. You don't want to be in the other spectrum. Just like I'm just gonna be bravado because I'm Tiger Woods. Not Tiger Woods, all right? So it's like you got to have some. Bro.
Was this where? I mean, are these the guys that you got your competitiveness from?
No, I mean, I don't know. Like I was asking Lisa about this the other day. I was like, I'm not competitive, and she's like, yeah, you are. What are you talking about? I'm like, I'm not. And so but then she was like, well, you got to qualify. You should qualify it. And I don't. And you have some dudes or girls, right? Like that alpha. Like, I'll race you. I'll beat you. I bet you if I race you, I'll beat you. I bet you I can throw this ball further than you. Like, I'm not like that. It's not me. It's more kind of just what you said earlier, right? It's like, okay, we're in this right now, and if you're standing in my way of getting what I need or want, then we're gonna have to go be competitive about it. Right?
I'm excited to play golf with you, man. I really want to see what you like.
Yeah, I'm gonna also go ahead and say, Allan, you're fucking out of your mind if you think you're not competitive.
I'm not, dude. I'm not.
Hold up. No, it's different. It's different than saying, look, being competitive doesn't mean you're a douchebag.
Yeah.
All right. So you're not a douchebag. You're competitive. You're also willing and generous, as far as even like helping other people, right? So like respect. But to say you're not competitive, that's a flat out lie. That's a flat out lie.
No, it's interesting. It's interesting hearing that from like a third party, because clearly that's how I'm projecting myself as. But
there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's what makes you an awesome person. And I think that's where you are where you are in life.
But there's levels to competition. Of course. Right? There's levels to competition. You have the stories of like the Michael Jordans of the world, or the Michael Jordan, where it's like everything is literally about competition. Even with his own kids, you ain't gonna beat me in this shit, no matter what. We're playing cards. You know that story, right?
Yeah.
You're not beating me in cards. I mean, that's like that. That's in a whole different category of competitive. And then you have the ones who's like, I don't care if I lose. Can't be one or the other, really. I mean, sure, you can be Michael Jordan, but you try to just be in the middle. I mean, that's. And then I guess there's another thing. There's another part of him is like just the chip on the shoulder type of mentality. It's kind of like, all right, well, you don't think highly of me, okay, I'll show you. There's that,
I mean, tell us a little bit about that. Like, what chips do you have on your shoulder?
Number one, like, I'm not gonna go into the race thing, but there's that aspect of it. There's that aspect, without a doubt, right? There's also without a doubt, there's a size issue. Like, I'm smaller than the average, like, and there's studies that show that, generally speaking, shorter people are going to have challenges and probably be behind. There's that. And it is what it is, And there's that. And then there's also just the like growing up, like coming into like a career, especially like in an old school company like Edison, there's the age, which I can't fight. I'm younger than everyone, but I want what they have in terms of monetary, like what they have monetarily, right? So there's that, right? And then that's probably those three, right? Because like if you look at it from a company perspective, like just because you're young doesn't mean you can't get that paper faster. Yeah. Well, that sucks. Yeah. Then we're just gonna go fight. We're just gonna go fight for it, right? Same thing. Like if I go into a meeting, it's like, dude, this guy is like so young and he's short too. Well, okay, we'll go fight for this paper. There's that, right? And then there's the race aspect of it too. Mm-hmm. Like this is Asian dude. He's Asian. He's small and he's young. Okay, we're gonna fight for this too. You know. So it's just that, you know. It's kind of like, okay, then let's go. How are you going to go toe to toe with somebody if you just look at it from those merits? And it's like, okay, I got to have a variable that's going to make sure that I'm better than you. Mm-hmm. What is that? I don't know, right? I just have to figure it out.
And what did you find that some of those intangibles or variables were that you were able to develop?
At the end of the day, I really believe what success is for not just me, for anybody, is really how you interact with people. Like at the company I work for in Boston, right? You know, you have to figure out a way to relate to these MIT dudes that were freaking smart. How do you relate to those people? You know, then you go back to like, you know, like other companies. How do you relate to this dude that's 60 years old that has the keys of what you want? Like, I need him to buy something from me. He's 60 years old. How do I relate to him? It clearly is not about the product. Clearly, it's not about how smart. It's based off whether or not I can jive with him and we can hang out. But the dude is 60 years old. So what does that tell me? It's the way like you relate with people. How you can interact socially with people, you know, in a professional and a interpersonal setting.
But I think it takes a smart person to actually even come up with that, you know? So a dumb person wouldn't realize that, hey, it's not just my intelligence, it's also how I interact with people. So overall, I'm saying I think you're telling yourself. No. I think you are a smart person. And I do. I'm not
saying that's smart. I'm saying you don't have to be like the sharpest tool intellectually, because you're gonna have that class of people. Like look at the Steve Jobs of the world, right? The dudes are smart. This is like the sharpest tool in the damn shed, right? So you have that class of people. Like that in itself will yield success. Mm-hmm. But for me personally, I know I can't get to that level. I could like smart-wise. What else are you gonna do? Figure out a way that you can kind of cultivate, you know, a skill that I think has value, which is the interaction. Like Pete, like you guys are very, you know, socially aware. You know, you guys are able to adapt to different social environments. It's a very good skill, right? Very good skill. And probably will. I mean, if you look at it like through your career, that. I'd argue with you guys that probably a big bulk of your success has to do with your ability to socialize.
Weren't you recruited by the CIA?
I was. Yeah, I was. Yeah. You know, that's a story that's like that's actually, you know, that's an opportunity that, you know, who knows what my life would have been if I went there. You know, that happened around the same time when I decided to get my MBA, because I just felt like I was stuck in my position, and so I needed a way out. And so they interviewed me in San Diego. I remember at a hotel. Everybody went by first name basis only. All the recruits.
How did they reach out to you though? Like, did you get a letter? Did someone knock on your door? Like, how did they say, "Hey, Allan Gonzaga, we want you to," you know?
No, there was an open application. That I found, and they said, if you're interested, apply for it, and I applied for it. But yeah, they ended up offering the position to me. But like, I think I told you the story, right? Like the reason why I bowed out, because like it's in the contract, outside of like they needed to like put you on a lie detector test monthly, all kinds of tests, right? Outside of all that, right? Well, the thing that really like kind of just, I can't do this, is like they required you to commit for 4 years, and they said like 1 year of it needs to be at a hardship post. So that means that they would have had to like deploy you like in Iraq or Afghanistan at the time. And I was like, there's no way I can handle that environment, dude. I can't do it, dude. Forget it. But they did say like once you get through that hardship post, you come back to the U.S. You work basically in Virginia, Langley, and there's that, right? But then I just couldn't at the time. I just couldn't do the hardship.
What were the recruiting for? What position?
An engineering position for wireless networks, like designing wireless networks for the CIA.
Wow.
Yeah, it would have been crazy. Like looking back, like should I have done it? Maybe, who knows, right?
Yeah. I mean, I got you got to be honest. Give me an honest answer about this, right? Did you not go because you just started dating Lisa?
No, I didn't even know Lisa. That was back in 2007. That was back in 2007. So that was before Lisa.
Oh, when you were thinking about getting your MBA.
Yeah.
You got your MBA later.
I got my MBA. I started MBA school in 2007. I graduated in 2010. But I think this happened shortly before 2007.
Oh, before that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to be clear. Just asking.
Yeah. No, but it would have been weird though. I always wonder. Like Ray's the one that always reminds me about it because I told him that story.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where
it's a
what if?
I mean,
what if
not everyone goes to a hotel room and gets interviewed by CIA guys.
and because it was such a thing, like for me, like oh my god, like I got an offer. Like I still saved the offer letter, and it was like this thick. Wow. And like the offer letter was like one page, but then the rest of the stack was like centered around like shit that you need to oblige by. Yeah. I just never signed it.
If you went, you probably would never have met Lisa though, huh?
Where's that? But dude,
maybe. Well, I don't know. I mean, Kristen's still your friend. It was Kristen, right? I think
It was cool, man. Because like David said, like once it's basically all I had to do was basically say yes, pass all the tests, and then you go through boot camp in Langley, and it's literally like it's like a boot camp. Like they teach you how to like fight and guns and everything, and you're armed when you go to the hardship post, even though you're an engineer.
You think you would have passed that lie detector test?
Depends what kind of questions they ask.
Do you believe that B's get degrees and that's good enough?
Yes. He's definitely saying the truth here, sir.
I mean, looking at his resume, he's absolutely correct. I mean, now, obviously, you have certain motivations. You have a family. You have 2 kids. You have a life that you need to sustain. But what was it before all that kept you going? Was it a person? Was it a thought in your head? Like, what kept you striving?
I think back then, before I was married or kids, what kept me going was probably more, I mean, I hate to say it, but we're talking facts. Like, it's probably more just because I wanted a lot of frivolous material things. Like, I just wanted that. I wanted this. I wanted that. Like, it's just, and just be honest. That's what drove me at the time. And, that got me to certain things. That's what I wanted. But then now you flip the script and it's kind of like what drives you now. It's nothing that. It's not even that. And somebody probably say, it's so like that's a textbook answer, but it really isn't because like right now, like at the end of the day, like what drives me now is what motivates me now and keeps me going is I just want to stop working. I stop working. Why do I want to stop working? I want to stop working so I can spend more time with my kids. That's it. That's it. And so I want to stop working immediately as fast as I could possibly can, and still be able to number one, and it's not stop working so that number one I spend more time with my kids. But then prior to stop working, it's 2. I got their education in place where I was like, okay, I could cover your education and then some, but then that's it. Like that's the goal. I'll cover your education and then some, and then I stop working so I can hang out with you guys. And that's it. All the frivolous like material stuff, it's like it's not really a thing right now. Like but prior to that was the thing. Like I wanted this, I wanted that, I wanted this. And that's okay, right? But then now the landscape has changed where I just want to stop working.
Yeah.
That's it. Not because I don't like work, it's because I feel like it's taking up my time from doing things that I would prefer doing, which is hanging out with my kids.
Yeah.
That's the reality. Like no, that's not a textbook answer. That's just straight up real. Like I just don't want to work because it's taking up my time to do other things.
Just thoughts. But at what point for you do you feel like you're like, well, it's not about that anymore? Was it before you guys even had Zach? Was it before you got married? Like, when was enough for you?
I think it's before we had kids. After kids, after we had Zach, that mentality, like this quick. I wouldn't say quickly. It gradually shifted that way, where that became more of the importance. But don't get me wrong, like pre Zach, pre kids, pre family, it was like, I want this, like this. I want to take this kind of vacation. There's that. There's the certain things that you just wanted, and that because what else? Like what else? What else could there be outside of you had your obligations with your family, if that was the landscape, right? You had to take care of like your parents and so on. But let's say you didn't have that. What else is there? Like why you strive that?
Yeah.
Make paper. Why are you making paper? You live a life that you dreamt of, right? Whatever that dream is. But then after you have kids, it's kind of different. Like what? like the Porsche. You mentioned the Porsche. I don't even drive the thing. Like I literally just put Zach's car seat in there probably like a month ago, so that I can drive it to take him to McDonald's. because I literally do not have time to drive it, and given COVID, where am I going to drive to? Right? But
exactly.
But even that, that luxury item, if that's what you call it, like I don't even use it. That's more of just like a nostalgia. It's more of a thing like I just wanted that, I have it, and I don't even use it.
Nothing wrong with that.
I don't even use it. I literally do not use it. Like I bought it with 84,000 miles in it. No joke. I literally only have 89,000 miles in it. and I've had it since 2015. So do the math. 5 years. 5,000 miles.
Yeah, I'm sure it's appreciated, isn't it? It's a classic one.
It's appreciated, but I'm not going to sell it. It's more of a thing. It's more just nostalgia for me. Like that's a car I wanted back in the 90s, and
it's a great car.
But that's a perfect example. That's a perfect example of this question. It's like at the time that was important, but like fast forward, would I have gotten it now? Probably not. Like, what does that do to the end goal?
Yeah. That's why you got to get all that out the way.
Got it literally before I got married. Strategically,
that was the last and final toy.
That
Allan had to his name. What do you feel the most proud of achieving out of all the things that you have achieved?
Honestly, like the one that I feel like, okay, I could probably hang in this industry that I'm in is probably when I left Edison, because and I started working for a company in Boston. I really feel like that was such a big accomplishment for me because you guys won't be able to relate to this, but like in Edison, it's very institutionalized. So you got to where you were at because of just the landscape of how the company was structured, how the business was structured. It's just how it was, and you know what you know in that bubble, arguably in that bubble that you live in. And so the real test for me career wise was that if you can go beyond that bubble. And I was able to kind of like materialize that into something when I moved into that Boston company. It's because those guys were like arguably like probably like the sharpest dudes I've met business and technical wise, because they were the MIT, literally the MITs. They came from MIT, like a bunch of them came from MIT. They were high intellects. They were big social network. They were rubbing elbows with like venture capitalists. It's like that world that we read about, but I wasn't like privy to it or experienced it in real life because I was living in this bubble with Edison, right? So like when I was able to, like when they decided to hire me or offer me the job, the real test was, okay, you got hired now. Now can you roll with them, right? Rolling with them and being and able to excel in that environment to me was probably like my, if you call it, my favorite accolade or achievement is because I was able to actually like roll with them. Like I was able to like go toe to toe with the MITs and be in a room with them. They're saying some shit. I'm like, they ain't that smart. They ain't that. Like, what's that, dude? Like, okay, I know they're not that smart. Like, okay, I can hang out with this guy. But, you know, but that's like a test, right? Because like you were able to see, like, okay, you can hang in the outside world. Because really, like, I could arguably say Edison is not the norm in terms of a company world. You are literally in a bubble, and Lisa will probably be able to attest to that. You are in a bubble when you work at Edison. Outside, can you translate that and be successful outside? You know, is able to. You know, I feel like that's, to me, I'm probably the most proud of that. And it was really weird because like when I first went to the company, after they hired me, I had to live in Boston for like 3 weeks. And I remember the first time I was in this meeting, I was really I was kind of like insecure and kind of just testing to see like, dude, where's these people, man? And they talk differently. Number one, like they just talked at a different like caliber. They were already thinking about something. Where I'm trying to figure out this first sentence. You guys talking about. What does that word mean? You know, and then so I was in this meeting, and I didn't know how to like conduct myself. I'm like, dude, I can't talk like that, dude. Remember we were talking about this, Pete? I said, I can't talk like this. I can't talk like these people. Like they talk really like eloquently, like really good. Right? And then me, I'm like the first to come out of my mouth. I was like, dude, what did you just say? Like, it's just that,
dude.
How I am. It's just how I am, right? That's just how I am. And one of the guys there was like, he didn't know I was a new hire, and he was like, you must not be from Boston. I was like, yeah, I'm from California. I remember this vividly, dude. He was like, you're not from Boston. I was like, you're from California. I was like, yeah, I'm from California. And he goes, yeah, I could tell, man, the way you talk. I'm like, yeah, that's how I talk, you know, the way I dress and so on, right? And then so, you know, then after a while, I was like, man, dude, I don't know if I could hang here, right? Because like we're just talking differently, and the way I express myself is very different from them. But after a while, I was just like, fuck you guys, right? I'm just talk the way I talk. You don't like it? I'm gonna get my point across one way or the other. If you think it's ghetto, it doesn't matter what you think. As long as I got the point across. So it's kind of just how they got to know me. It was like, that's Allan. I don't know if you guys ever worked in the East Coast business world. It's very different. It's very different. They're very formal. Yeah. I wouldn't say like they're more professional, but they're just more formal. And you guys know me. I'm not the most formal. Like it's kind of just spitball. It's kind of just hang out, right?
What was it that made you want to leave Edison so you can pursue this company?
Aspiration to make more. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, that's I mean, because like at Edison, like sure, like either the lifer, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, they set you up good financially. They got a good retirement plan to take care of you medically, your insurance. That's all set, right? And that allows for a lifestyle. But then you know, you come to realize that there's more to that, right? And how do you get there? You got to leave the bubble. That's really what drove me.
What was your decision process like?
It wasn't easy at all. It was very methodical and very like tactical as well in terms of like, okay, if I do X and X fails, what's my recourse? So like it was very methodical, like in terms of a contingency plan. And I had and believe me, like I had to set a contingency plan at Edison, and I let the people know that where I left, it's like, hey, I'm doing this, but in case that doesn't work out, because 90% of startup companies don't work out, you can hire me back, right? Like I literally had to I literally had to have that type of conversation with some of the managers there, and then they said, yeah, of course, like of course, we'll hire you back, and then that kind of helped give me the confidence that okay, like let's get your feet wet here, try it out. If it doesn't work, do you always got to fall back? So it was very methodical in that sense. It wasn't just like F you guys and going all in. That shit fails. I'm gonna figure it out. No, there was a contingency plan.
I remember when you first started, we would talk about it a lot, and all the traveling you were doing. You telling me about the cool cities you're staying at, Portland, Hawaii.
And that's another thing. The travel, just the shit that I learned working for that company is amazing.
You went to Germany too, right?
Because I went to Germany, went to Europe for work, and just the travel itself. And it goes back to kind of just like the things you learn about meeting new people. Because every place you go to, it's a different culture. Right? Yeah. You go to Hawaii, it's a different culture there. You go to Portland, different culture. They sent me to Alabama.
Wow.
Sorry. So
the dirty South, Al. I'm sure you felt just at home, man.
Yeah, so they said, oh, there's a customer in Alabama that wants to blah 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 blah. And I said, oh, can you go, Allan? I said, what am I gonna say? So yeah, I go, but I know about Alabama, like I'm freaking Asian, right? And so we just hired an intern. The dude was white, and I was like, yo, can you come with me on this trip? You're gonna be my bodyguard.
Wow.
And so, someone will vouch for me.
I call the CEO of the company. I'm like, hey, yo, can so and so join me for this trip? I think it's a good learning experience for him. I'm gonna show him the ropes. Blah 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 blah. So he got the approval, and so I was like, yo, you're coming with me. So we go to Alabama, and I told the guy, I'm like, yo, you sticking with me? Like, you're the white dude. Like, they like you here. They don't like me over here. And so he just stuck out. It was good. Like, there's no issues. And of course, that was like pre-MAGA, right? And so no issues at all. But it's contingency plan.
Yeah.
So I got a white dude. The dude likes me, so everybody back up just in case. That was all pre-MAGA. That's all pre-MAGA, right? So
I'm sure
that's different now. Yeah.
How was
pre-MAGA Alabama? How was that?
No, that trip that I'm referencing, there was no incident at all. Matter of fact, like they were very, very nice. I did come to learn, like, just we were there for like a week, I think, and so I got to hang out with like the customers. So I was like, "What do you guys do for fun?" So the things they do for fun is different, of course. Like drive-in is a thing over there at the time. Drive-in movies, drive-through like burger shops, like we just hang out, like the movie stuff. And then what they do is they go to the river.
What?
Like the river, and then
the tubing, right? Tubing,
right? Yeah, they go tubing. And then,
I got to experience that.
They go tubing.
I got to experience tubing.
Yeah, they go tubing, and then they haul a cooler behind them, and then they're just tubing down the river. It's just a thing.
That was probably some of the most fun I ever had. I did that in Austin. Oh my God, it was so much fun.
Yeah,
it was so relaxing.
It's a thing. So when I got there, like I didn't know that's a thing, right? That was back in like 2013. I didn't know. I lived. It's not a thing that we do in California, especially in California, right? So but all in all, like, people were cool, right? Like, we went to bars, and they're just really chill people.
Where have you been, Peter, in the South?
I've been to Texas, like the Southeast, like Houston, Beaumont, and then like Louisiana, when Katrina hit and stuff like that. I went for work too, and I spent like a couple months over there actually. When I was living with you,
that's right.
I wasn't there. I wasn't home for like 2 months.
Yeah, I remember
that. But my experience was really pleasant, actually. And I don't even know if pre-MAGA or MAGA has anything to do with this, but just naturally, Southern hospitality is a real thing.
Agree.
It's a real thing, and it sucks that this whole MAGA thing is really blanketing that South, because the truth is that I too didn't experience anything down there. No, I can't say the same for other people, right? Yeah. I was in a different position. I was there to help. I was there to help out with a crisis. So I can't imagine what it might be like when that's not happening, or like if I was a minority there or a person of color there that under these new circumstances, you know what I mean, where it's all like there's like a clear divide.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can't speak from experience about if it's bad or not, but I know it's happening.
My first time going to South was I just started at my current company, And 2 months in, like, we need you to go to Jackson, Mississippi. I'm like, the fuck, Jackson? Like, what? Really?
Mississippi. Oh man.
I didn't know that Jackson was predominantly black. But I stuck out like a sore thumb because I wore all fitted clothing. You know, everybody there dresses a little differently. Yeah. Nothing happened. People were really nice. But going there, I really, really wanted to at least drive through the Ole Miss campus. You know, I like going to cities and checking out some of their college campuses. That's like one of the things I like to do. And I was talking to someone, and he was like, well, you better be careful which way you go, because some parts, you know, they don't want you out there. I was like, oh, word? So I'm like, so I kind of scrapped that, you know. But that's really it. I did remember walking into a Chick-fil-A for the first time, and I was just randomly driving around, like, let me just check out this town. And everybody in there just looked at me. Nothing happened, but, you know, I was the only I was definitely in a all white neighborhood, very affluent white neighborhood. You know, and I wanted to try Chick-fil-A. That shit was delicious.
It was. It's so good. Yeah. I mean, but there's definitely a difference between, like, if a person of color, any other color other than black, walks through a neighborhood versus like a black guy walking through that neighborhood, though, you know? I mean, let's be honest, right? It's different.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Now that you have a family.
Yeah.
Right. You have 2 sons. No, and you have 2 and you have 2 sons, right?
Yeah.
What would you tell Zach or Ryan, you know, when it comes to, you know, achieving certain successes that you did, right? Whether it be financial or whatever that you felt fulfilled with, like even getting things you wanted, right? Like, what would you tell them? Like, the reality of the situation is this.
The reality of the situation is you got to know people to get what you want the majority of the time.
It's not what you know, it's who you know, right?
That's probably a big majority of what you need to get what you want. As long as you're not like the dumbest dude, like
so long as you're getting B's.
As long as you get the B's, like, you're not the dumbest dude, right? If you're getting F's and you're just really dumb, like, there's a problem. That's the problem. That's just the reality of it. I'm putting it as blatant as I can possibly put it.
I don't think people give Allan enough credit for how honest and blatant he can be. I don't think you get enough credit for that. At least not from what I've seen. Truth dropper.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I was telling Zach and Ryan, like, if he was like, oh man, I don't know this material like the best, like everyone else, like, don't worry about it. You know the dude, you know the teacher. The teacher like you. We'll hang out with the teacher. She'll probably pass you, dude, just by knowing you. Like, you know, like.
Are those so? What parts of yourself, like, that you're okay with Zach and Ryan knowing about everything leading up to their birth? Like, what parts of yourself, or stories, or things you've done? Like, you know, I can tell this story. This is a good story. Nothing. Absolutely.
Absolutely nothing. This can't be aired. This can't be open to them. No, I'm kidding. No, I mean, anything, man. Like, it's all good, man. They can know whatever they want. I have to, but that's, to me, if I was to give them, like, if I was to say, yo, you need to construct your strategy of how to navigate this world, is you better know some people.
Yeah.
People better like you. Listen, don't be unlikable.
Well said. Ray, do you have anything else for Allan?
Glad you decided to join us. This was fun.
Yeah, no, it's nice, man. It's nice. I hope you guys keep it up.
Thank you again for, you know, coming on and sharing your insights, man.
Yeah, of course. You guys continue doing what you guys are doing.